So this person says, admit it. Every time Democrats get power, all they do is blame Republicans. LOL, laughing face emoji. Well, the beautiful thing about your assertment is we can check it against historical data, right? What do Democrats do when they get power? Let's just look at my lifetime, right? I was born at the tail end of the Nixon administration, so I lived during the scandal-plagued tail end of the Nixon administration and then the Ford administration. Then we go into Carter, Reagan, Bush, so forth, so on. So Carter was a one-term president. In comes Ronald Reagan, and he is going to fix a downtrodden economy. What does he do? He cuts taxes more than any president in American history, right? He deregulates, he cuts taxes. He makes sure that the corporations and the ultra rich get to keep as much of their money. And what happens? He blows a massive hole in the debt and deficit. We see inflation skyrocket. We see Reagan increase taxes 14 more times over the course of the next 7 years, and he still can't right the ship. We have one term of Poppy Bush, but it's basically an extension of the 8 years of Reagan, and in comes Clinton. What does Clinton do? He fixes that mess. He works with a Republican Congress to fix that mess. A Republican Congress and a Democratic president work together, and they balance the budget. Clinton's in office for 6 years. He oversees the creation of 22 million new jobs, and he has a balanced budget and a surplus for the last 6 years of his 8 years in office. He hands that off to George W. Bush. What does George W. Bush do? He promptly gets the Bush tax cuts and invades Afghanistan and Iraq. Becomes the first president in American history to start wars while cutting taxes. Blows a massive hole in our debt and deficit again. And we enter into the worst recession since the Great Depression. By the time George Bush is leaving office, we're shedding 700,000 jobs a month. He comes into office with a booming economy, a balanced budget, and a surplus. He leaves office with the worst recession since the Great Depression. In comes Obama. What does Obama do? He fixes that. He oversees the creation, the longest uninterrupted streak of private sector job growth in American history. He saves the auto industry. He doubles the stock market. He cuts unemployment in half. He cuts government spending by 2/3. And every single economic factor is on a solid upward trend during his 8 years in office. So we get Reagan fucking up the economy, Clinton fixing the economy, Bush fucking up the economy, Obama fixing the economy. In comes Donald Trump. What happens? Well, Trump gets the 2017 Trump tax cuts, which he and Republicans rave are going to be the single greatest job creator in American history. Watch what's going to happen to our economy. You're going to be winning so much, you're going to be sick of it. Only in the first 3 years prior to the COVID pandemic, he oversees the creation of 1.4 million fewer jobs than Obama did in his last 3 years. Government spending skyrockets. The debt and deficit go way through the fucking roof. We don't see the creation and the booming economy that he said we were going to see. And then we enter 2020, where he ignores a global pandemic, fights with governors, fights with the medical professionals, and our economy gets driven off of a fucking cliff. In comes Joe Biden. What does he do? Well, he puts employment back to pre-pandemic numbers and blows past it by 3.8 million jobs. We're producing more energy domestically than we ever have before. The stock market has hit all-time highs. And now we're going to pass that off to another president, whether it be Kamala Harris or Donald Trump. So when you say that all Democrats do is come in and blame Republicans, I would argue that history says otherwise. History says all Democrats do is fix messes that Republicans make. At least that's the way it's been in my lifetime.